Entering Phase 2 of version 4.1, a new brawler appears, and quite honestly, really gives me vibes. While Hazel is our first character that utilizes hand-to-hand combat, he's more floaty and like martial artsies. The Duke of the Fortress of Meripede, however, is more of the street and boxing type with some heavy gauntlets to go along with it. Wriothesley! Hey, what is going on, guys? It's Johnny and welcome to another Genshin Impact video. In today's video, we're gonna quickly review Wriothesley's kit so you guys can get on out of here with a better understanding of how he works and start building your Wriothesley. Now, without any further ado, let's jump right into it. Similar to our previous character, Nervulette, Wriothesley is also a Catalyst user, but has the Cryo Vision and mainly focuses on normal attacks. His normal attack talent, Forceful Fist of Frost, will unleash powerful repelling fists that can attack up to 5 times, dealing cryo damage in the process. He does have an interesting mechanic that makes it so his normal attack count won't reset for a short duration after using Ice Fang Rush, which is his elemental skill, or sprinting. For example, if you do N1 and N2 sprint and then resume with this combo, Wriothesley will continue with N3, 4, and 5. The duration of not resetting is really short though, and almost has to be done instantaneously. This is something that could be useful for when you want to avoid damage and then resume with your combo, since the multiplier does get stronger, which honestly makes it pretty cool because boxers do have good reaction time, so it's pretty awesome that Hoyoverse is incorporating it into Wriothesley's kit. For the charged attack, it just consumes stamina to unleash Vaulting Fist and deals AoE cryo damage. It is gonna come up again later, so keep this name in mind, but his plunging attack is going to just be the basic one. So far, pretty good. Nothing too complex as of yet compared to his elemental skill, Ice Fang Rush, will sprint forward a short distance while entering the chilling penalty state. In this state, Wriothesley's resistance to interruption will be increased, and when his HP is above 50%, it will enhance his repelling fist's damage, which again is his normal attack. However, every time a normal attack connects, a fixed amount of HP will be consumed, which can only be lost this way every 0.1 seconds, and if Wriothesley leaves the field, this effect will be cancelled. It's pretty obvious where they're trying to go with this. Honestly, a pretty good elemental skill. The damage increase you gain will be pretty large, and the duration of 10 seconds lasts long enough for it to not be an issue. Since the cooldown is 16 seconds, there'll only be a 6-second downtime, which can easily be ignored by swapping in other characters and setting up again. The only downside is that the buff from Chilling Penalty only triggers when he's above 50% HP, and with a consistent draining from his normal attacks, you'll want to consider a consistent healer to keep his HP above this threshold. The HP cost is also 4.5% of max HP, but something to keep in mind that this is only a cost and not part of his scaling. When taking a look at his normal attacks as well, it doesn't have HP scaling. Therefore, Wriothesley is going to want to build like a conventional DPS with attack. His elemental burst, Dark Gold Wolf Bite, will activate his boxing gloves and use Icicle Impact to deal multiple instances of AoE cryo damage in the frontal area. After Icicle Impact ends, a Surging Blade will descend, dealing Usia aligned cryo damage. If you guys have Nervulette, you might notice that he does Numa aligned hydro damage from his elemental skill, while Wriothesley does Usia aligned cryo damage with his burst, which is more restrictive due to the energy cost. Other than that, his elemental burst is pretty straightforward, just a hard-hitting attack with a 15 seconds cooldown and an energy cost of 60. His Ascension 1 passive talent, There Shall Be a Plea for Justice, provides Wriothesley with some survivability because when his HP falls under 60%, he will obtain a Gracious Rebuke, which changes his charge attack to Rebuke Vaulting Fist. With this, the next charge attack will not consume stamina while also dealing 50% increased damage and heal him by 30% of his max HP. Gracious Rebuke can only be gained once every 5 seconds, so no spam healing. You can also tell if Gracious Rebuke is available based on the red aura surrounding Wriothesley. While this passive talent might sound pretty cool, it is kind of in a weird spot, and I'm overall not really a huge fan because it conflicts with the buff from Chilling Penalty, which increases his normal attack damage when he's above 50% HP. So if you're running him with the healer, then you might not see this passive trigger often, and even if you don't run him with the healer, there will be moments where you're under 50%, which means no buff, but can heal due to the cooldown restriction. Unfortunately, to resolve this issue, you need to consider his C1, which kinda sucks, but we've seen worse. His Ascension 4 passive talent, There Shall Be a Reckoning for Sin. I sense a pattern here. Further improves his damage because when his current HP increases or decreases while he's in the Chilling Penalty state, he will gain a stack of Prosecution Edict, increasing his attack by 6%, stacking up to 5 times. A much better passive talent that provides a free 30% attack boost, which is nothing to laugh at, but what I really love is how much synergy he now has with the Marshushe Hunter. He already had synergy with it by being able to trigger the 4-piece set effect, but now you get an attack boost with it, which is just absolutely insane, and the setup won't require much effort. A bit of a spoiler for artifacts there. Lastly, his exploration talent, There Shall Be a... wait a minute. The Duke's Grace has a 10% chance to receive double the product when Wriothesley crafts weapon ascension materials. These types of exploration talents are always useful because you get to potentially save on some resin, so always a huge fan. If you're a veteran player, you most likely have a couple characters with a similar talent, but for new players, this is going to be huge towards account progression. Though I personally prefer the 25% chance to refund materials one. Now for the heart and soul of the character. Their weapons! Wriothesley actually has a lot of options when it comes to weapons, but what you should be looking out for are weapons that increase normal attack damage, attack, and crit stats to further improve his DPS. Cash Flow Supervision, which is his own weapon, conveniently enough provides him with everything we just mentioned, and it's gonna be his best in slot. Generic weapons that provide those juicy crit stats are also going to work wonders because of the raw stats that they provide. Most are gacha weapons though, and can generally be hard to obtain, but have no fear because for F2P options, Wriothesley actually has 2 really good ones. Full Impurity, which is a craftable weapon, and Ballad of the Boundless Blue, which is an event-exclusive weapon that is currently ongoing by the making of this video. Both of these weapons are fantastic and what I would recommend for anyone that doesn't have many options. For artifacts, we already mentioned it previously, but there's no better set for Wriothesley than the Marshushe Hunter, an absolutely insane artifact set for characters that can trigger the 4-piece due to the amount of crit rate you'll receive, and has really good synergy with his Ascension 4 passive. Blizzard Strayer is honestly probably the best artifact set in the game for any crowd DPS, and the 2-piece set effect is actually a bit better since his Elemental Burst will benefit from the cryo damage bonus. The only downside is that it can be a bit restrictive when it comes to team building, which mainly plays around a freeze team comp only. Bosses also can't be frozen, so the set is more situational. The Marshushe Hunter will be more flexible and work in any comp, even melt, because it focuses on the individual rather than the team. Other than that, any mix and match of 2 pieces that provide normal attack damage, cryo damage, or attack are all great options. For main stats, since he does scale off of attack, you can follow the traditional attack sands, elemental goblet, and crit circlet. As for substats, crit rate, crit damage, attack, and energy recharge are going to work wonders. For team building, because there's so many characters that can fill in multiple roles, we're gonna focus more on roles, so you have a character that fills in multiple, move on to the next role. Teams that you'll mainly see with Wriothesley will be Freeze and Melt. A Freeze team will of course include a Hydro character that's able to consistently apply Hydro off-field, like Xingqiu, Yelan, or Kokomi. While he might not necessarily need one, I would recommend a healer for consistency with his buffs, such as Bennett, Diona, Jean, or even Barbara. Though not consistent because her elemental skills downtime is pretty long, Barb also has some Hydro application and can even serve as a buffer with Throne Tails of Dragon Slayers, making her effectively fill in 3 roles. Both are even free to obtain in-game, making them a great combo for any new players. For the last slot, it's pretty flexible based on preference, but generally a buffer, debuffer using VV, or off-field damage dealer would be ideal. any element so long as it doesn't disrupt the freeze reaction. For normal attack, Yunjin or Ayato, cryo damage Ganyu or Shenhe, who actually also buffs normal attack, Bennett or Throwing Tails, Vivi, Kazuha, Venti, Sucrose, the traditional mobbers or Jean, and for odd-field damage dealers, Xingqiu, Shenhe, Ganyu, Rosaria, and the list goes on. A melt team is going to include a consistent pyro applier like Xiangling or Dia, and for the third and fourth slot, any buffer or debuffer like the ones we previously mentioned, or off-field damage dealer would do the trick. I would recommend Bennett though, just because of how much he offers for the team, serving as a healer, buffer, and battery for pyro characters like Xiangling. A pretty popular team is going to be National, since most of the team consists of 4 stars, so you can mix it up between Melt and Vaporize. Another Melt variation though is adding in a Dendro applier such as Nahida, Kale, or Dendro MC, a pyro character to cause the burn reaction like Bennett, and another buffer, debuffer, or off-field DPS who won't cleanse the burn reaction. Between the two though, I would recommend the first just because of how much damage Xiangling dishes out, and is easier to execute. As usual though, team building is all on preference and dependent on what playstyle or what you have, so feel free to be creative and mix things up. Like me, I'm gonna do a normal attack and attack speed comp. Who doesn't want to punch things really fast? Overall, Wriothesley is gonna be a pretty good option as a cryo main DPS and can enable your team to do elemental reactions due to his consistent cryo application. His kit still has that conflicting debate whether you want to run a healer or not, and might see some inconsistency without one, unless you have his C1, but he'll still fulfill his role effectively. If you love having a character out on the field that's like your hyper carry, then Wriothesley will be a good option since he'll remain on the field for quite some time while having some sustain for himself, and can honestly pack quite the punch. Alrighty guys, hopefully this quick and easy guide to Wriothesley has helped you in some shape or form. But thank you so much for tuning in. If you did enjoy the video, be sure to smash that like and subscribe button. Don't forget also to turn that notification bell so you don't miss on any newly released videos. I've been Johnny D. Until next time, I'll catch you guys in the next one.